Benachish Hati Adi, thank you for coming. Do we have anybody new?
I'm new.
Can you tell us who you are, and we'd like to know your native name or your clan, or if you had the class before.
Goodness cheese, surely. My Lingit name is Kwanaki. I am from the Chidi clan, so Raven Sockeye, and I am the daughter of Eagle Wolf, and I reside in Sitka, Alaska, and I have not taken any classes before this one. So I hope I'm not too late in the classes. So
Yeah, okay, Benachish.
It's never too late to join.
thanks.
Kara, you're new here. Would you like to go next?
Thanks. My name is is also from Coquitlam. So thank you.
Oh. Benachish. And how many do we have?
Jinka. Click. Gushok.
Good. Okay. For those of you who are new and others, I mentioned before that if as I teach the Tlingit language, I realize that there's some people that didn't grow up in the village like I did. So I like to include things that are part of the culture knowledge, and sometimes stories. We'll have time for stories too that I used to hear when I was young, and I think one of the things, and those of you that know the learning a language is pretty difficult. So you can imagine the old people as they were introduced to words or things that it was difficult for them to say the words. And in some cases, they went ahead and were very, very clever in making up new words for different things that are new. And it just really surprises me to realize what they did. And actually, I think in the early 50s or around there, they said the BIA pretty much succeeded in doing away with the language, and that was when new words, I think, were just kind of stopped. So there's a huge gap between now and then of new things that have been introduced, and we haven't been able to. It seems like some of the students I heard about have tried to make up words. The only thing is, it seems like it's difficult to agree. One group thinks of one thing, and another calls it different. So I want to talk a little bit about, before we go into our lesson, I want to talk a little bit about the old people making up new words for new things that were introduced. And so if you have your computer, you have your pencil, your pen, whatever you use to make notes, and I want you to make notes, I will introduce 6 words that were made up by the old people for new things. And so when you're ready, I'll take the questions as we go along. And I think when Corey puts it on chat, someone is the underline is missing because his computer doesn't do that. So those of you that can step in and make the correction, because I'll give you the spelling. The first word that I want you to write down is theta. Theta. I with a tone mark, T double A. Theta. Some of you already know that that means a knife. Theta. I think before that we had daggers. And so there's a different word for that. But this is for a knife that you like you use in the kitchen and cutting up things. Hita. So I hope you're paying really close attention. Next word. Make sure you get the high tones in the right place. This one is quite a long word, but in many classes it becomes a favorite word for my students. The word is ha-sha-ha-sha. Ha-sha-ha-sha. K, underline K, double A, S-H-A, X, A-S-H, double A. Did I get that right, Corey?
Yeah, what?
Yeah. Okay. The tone mark is on the after the X. The A after the X is got a tone mark. Pasha, hasha. The actual word is ha is man, hush is to cut, and it's actually, I think it was first seen used by a barber, and head sha, hasha is cutting, man's hair cutting tool, ha sha hasha. Any questions or comments?
Miss Shirley, this is Krista. Would you mind saying it one more time for me?
Hasha hasha. Hasha hasha. man's hair cutting tool. Of course, now we use it for the same name for the cutting scissors. Hasha, hasha. Okay, next word. Chicuena. Chicuena. G-I, underline G, W, I think it's A-N-double-A. And the tone mark is on Chicuena. The A after the W. Chicuena. It means a hand towel, small towel, hand towel. Chicuena. And the G is like for gin, G-I-N, J-I-N. I think is the first letter G or J?
J.
J-I.
So
Sorry if I got you wrong on that.
if anyone's looking at what I'm typing in chat, the reason I put the hyphen before some of these words, the body parts, something we haven't talked about is that body parts in Shinget don't exist on their own. You have to show ownership. That's why I'm typing the hyphen. Usually you would say a pronoun in association with those words, but in these instances it's kind of different because it's part of a different word for a noun.
Okay. And the spelling again.
J-I underline G W high tone E I-N-A-A.
Okay.
One more thing for chat. A thing that we often do, because I can't type the underlines, if there's an H appearing after a consonant, that signifies that the consonant before it, the G, is underlined. That's kind of a little cheat thing that we often use when typing Shinget.
Yeah, if you shows you're supposed to underline that. But be very careful because we do have an H in the alphabet. Chicuena.
Can you all repeat that again, Corey, and about the H and the underline and the
Sure. So
what
I'll put a few examples here in the chat. So for instance, I'll type in XH, and this would mean that the X is supposed to be underlined. So this is kind of like a cheat on computers when you're typing um to get around not being able to underline things when formatting is a problem. Different web programs and different things, you can't always do this, especially on phones. I know in the past I've had to kind of create a cheat on my phone. I had to type in like GHH, and then it would turn that G into an underlined G. So sometimes it doesn't always work properly. But there's kind of an unwritten rule. The H after a consonant, like written here, it just shows you that the letter in front of the X, or sorry, in front of the H, would be underlined. It would be a different sound. It's just a way to get around not being able to create that underline in the text.
Okay, so the letter previous to the H is the one that should be underlined.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But also, as Shirley mentioned, we do have an H sound. So it gets a little bit confusing once you start seeing a lot of Shinget written. To differentiate, there should be an H or an SH here because there's no underlined S, for instance. But if it's like an XH, the X is underlined, or KH, the K would be underlined. So it takes a little bit of time looking at and practicing to tell the difference.
And what is the sound of the X again? I'm new
The underline?
No, just the X
Oh,
sound when I see the letter.
that's a regular X.
An X with no markings is just a lot of air.
I've heard it described as like a scraping sound. I kind of think of it as like TV static. That's how I used to describe it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be ready for the next word is hit. There we go with a X that doesn't have a marking. Hit. It's an XI with a high tone mark. T that has an apostrophe. Double A. And that's a broom. I thought that was pretty clever because all it says is that thing that sweeps. Hit,
Hit.
hit, yeah. Click on that T. Hit, it's not a regular T with an apostrophe. You click on it, and it's a broom. Okay, how many words do I have now? 4. Do I have 4? Okay, are you ready for the next word? Cook. Cook. You're getting a good treatment with the X's. It's G. Starts with a G.
G, high tone U, pinched X, A.
So that's that word means cup. Cook. So the X will have an apostrophe next to it. We call it pinch. So when we keep saying pinch, you put an apostrophe next to it. Cook. The cup. Uh, any questions or comments on that one? Cook, unless you already know.
When I looked this one up earlier, it also listed it as meaning a can, which I would guess would mean like a can you drink from, probably not like a can of food. Um, any thoughts about that?
I never heard that before, but it could be. It is something to carry liquid. Yeah, it means a cup. Okay, how many words do I have now?
Okay, Jin.
Okay, last one. If you don't have any questions or comments on that one. Katikha. Katikha. It's a regular K, double A, T, high tone I, pinched X. That means you put an apostrophe next to the X, and double A.
So here, because I used the H trick I was talking about, I put it before the apostrophe to try to contain it to show that the pinch sound is that's all part of that same sound. So I hope that makes sense. Katika.
Yeah.
So Corey, is there an underline then? Is that what that H means there?
Yeah. So the X is underlined, but the X also has a pinch sound at the same time, the apostrophe. So the H apostrophe both apply to the X.
Yeah. And that's a sound that you make at the back of your throat. Katika. That X. And that's a harder letter of the X's. It's getting harder. So you squeeze your tongue to the back of your the roof of your mouth and squeeze out the X. I know in Downhauer books it says do not exaggerate, but I find that I do have to with English speakers. So and when I exaggerate, it doesn't sound that like that when you actually say it. It sounds usually it turns out pretty good. And it's a key. The actual translation is that thing you turn. Katika. Did you get all the markings? K
Uh-huh.
K-A-T-I-X underline pinch double A.
Sheesh, Sakun. She's editing when I'm putting in the chat with the correct punctuation.
I hope I didn't go too fast with that, but we can go over all of them again. It's to begin with, Sitta. And what's the next word? Somebody. Anybody want to try? Next word.
Was it Hasha Uksha?
Hasha, 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 hasha. It's a long word, but it's a pretty neat one in the translation. Chiquena.
Buena.
Hita.
I was wondering, I notice all of these have a double A at the end. Can I ask what that stands for?
That is a very, very good question. And I was hoping that somebody would notice that all, in fact, there's a big list. I'm only giving 6 of them here, but there's a big list of these words that that have the double A at the end. And I couldn't find a meaning for it, but after studying the items that where they used it, it seems to be it's something that does something, but it doesn't work unless a human uses it.
Oh, goodness, sheesh.
Yeah. So I
Uh-huh.
I kept looking. I thought, wow, that was what it was. Is they use that double A for, but and I don't know how they conclude it because there is some things called at So, but the double A ones really caught my attention. I just love talking about them. So, and it's really something when if you look further into these words that were made up by the elders with a double A, it will usually be some kind of tool or something that that can be used by a human, but it doesn't work unless a human is using it.
Goodness, cheese.
So, yeah, isn't that clever? I thought, wow, that's really something. There's words like sisa, sina, it's light. Una is the gun. Yeah, there's quite a group of words like that, and so they quit making up new words. So then everything got kind of stopped. Pencil is a kuhida and things like that. So very exciting and clever. So are there any other questions or comments on the spelling and the writing, the pronunciation? Kasha, kasha, hita, hita,
Yeah,
hita.
I have a question. Again, what the underline letter signifies what in the pronunciation?
In your throat. The
Okay,
letters in your throat.
okay,
Yeah. Like
okay.
you say, to say in your mind, ka, with a K-A, ka. Underline, move it to the back of your throat, ka. So that's what I like to have my students do. So the underline, the regular K is ka. Underline K is ka in the back of your throat. Ka. You, the back of your tongue hits the roof of your mouth. Ka. There you go. I can hear a good one.
Goodness, cheese. If anybody wants to practice the letters and how they sound, the Sea Alaska Heritage app actually has an alphabet, and you can press on each letter and they'll say the sound, so you can practice your sounds. That's what I did. I don't know what else it wants to do.
Yeah, Robbie Littlefield, I think, made a recording, and I really was happy that she did, because she is not Tlingit. She's studied the language. She married into the tribe. So the effect it had for me was that she, with her English thinking brain about how to say these letters. So if you can get a hold of her recording as she goes through the alphabet, you will get a taste of how an English speaking person can be able to manage the letters. So I used her thinking a lot in regards to teaching the difficult letters. And when my students come to me and say, I have a sore throat after your class, it's really, really good. They're trying real hard to say that muscles in your throat being used.
That's good. That's funny. I have a sore throat.
Yeah.
You
Sure
should.
that to your class. So that's good news for me.
Uh, That's when we're doing it right, huh?
Yeah. We're working hard on it
Yeah.
because it is training your throat muscles to be different. Like I always warn my students that we have 8 X's and we don't have one X that sounds like an English X. And the other issue is that, and I mentioned that earlier, is that we don't have punctuation. We don't use English punctuation like a question mark or because we have different use for the punctuation. One of them is we have a period, and in many or all cases, the period will appear between 2 vowels. And so if you see WA period E, and it's wa, wa, eh. And there is an English example of oh, kind of, that's a glottal stop, wa, or ha, ha, and that's what your aunt would say to you if you were showing off. Ha, that's too much. You're too much when they say that. Show off. And the apostrophe we keep referring to as a pinch. The apostrophe will show up next to a consonant. And of course, the underline. Anytime you see an underlined letter, it's in your throat. So, and you see an apostrophe, you either click on it or close your teeth to say it. Like I didn't teach you how to say "ina," which is a light. An S pinched is almost like a Z. Ina, ina. So
And these symbols she's talking about for the writing, this is just for the coastal Alaskan version of it. If you see Tlingit written in Canada, it's often written differently. I have trouble reading it. There's different symbols. They put like dots above vowels and stuff like that, which we don't typically do in Alaska. So there isn't quite one system of writing. There's different ones out there.
they developed their own. We have ours, and of course, you know that the Lingit you're learning is the Northern Lingit language, but the speakers from various areas, even though they speak Lingit, there's a different twist or different angle on it, like from the south. I think beginning in Cape Wrangell on down, it changes. And then, of course, Canada, you understand them easily, but as far as the books, I guess, or I haven't seen any, but I heard about the way they write is a little different. And then Yakutat is also different. Haynes, Yakutat, Anna. So it's there's some differences. So
Ms. Shirley, I also have another question, not related to pronunciation, but culture. So as students and you are our teacher, what would be the correct way to address you?
Well, in this class, make it easier, you can call me by my Lingit name, Shaksani Keek. Shaksani Keek.
Oksana Geek.
That's
Okay.
my Lingit name. I thought I heard somebody say their name that sounded kind of similar. So, but I use up all the A's in my name.
Yeah, Shaksana.
SHAAX pinched, SAANIK EEK pinched. Shaksani Keek. Shah is women. Shak is many women.
Hmm.
Sani is young women. Shaksani. Keek is little sister. So my name is little sister to all the girls. Shaksani Keek. It's a famous name. The weaver in who was a Chilkat related to my mom gave me her name. She said it was unusual to give your name to some while you're still living, but she said I'm going to do it anyway, so she gave me her name.
Hmm.
So you read about her history. It's really something. As a young girl, they got a hold of a Chilkat blanket that was, I think the first ones were made by the Tsimshian. So they got a hold of one and unraveled it. That's when they found out how it was done. And the clever part of making a Chilkat blanket is the yarn is spun around cedar bark, strings of cedar bark. And cedar bark is well known to protect wool against moths. So you find these really, really old Chilkat blankets that are ready to fall apart, but not because of moths, but because it's really old.
Hmm.
So, yeah, what they did is it just completely unraveled one whole blanket
Hmm.
and recorded what they found, and they reversed it to learn how to make the blankets. Oh,
If anybody's interested, I have been told the story, so you can ask me and I can tell you the story.
yeah. Oh, we're ready for a story.
Oh, well. I didn't want to take your time away. I'm sure you have
Yeah, we have a
great.
lot of time for culture.
Well, you let me know and I will be happy to tell it.
Yeah, go ahead right now.
Goodness, cheese. All right, so this is how I learned it from Lily Hope, Wushkindenda at my master weaver. And the story goes that back in the day, they had some Tlingits coming down from the coast down to the Queen Charlotte Islands, because that's where we did a lot of our trading. And there was this one gentleman who had a friend who was Haida. And so he comes down and he sees his friend, and his friend's a merchant who lives there. And he says, you know, I have got this thing that I just traded from a Tsimshian. You've got to see it. I'm not going to give it, it's not for sale, but let me show you. And he goes in the back and he brings out a Chilkat dancing apron. And this Tlingit guy, he goes, that's coming home with me. That's not like, that's obviously that's coming home with me. And the guy was like, no, like, I already told you it's not for sale. Like, I really wanted to show you. I thought you would like it. And he goes, the Lingit guy is like, no, no, like, it doesn't matter what the price is. That is coming home with me. Tell me your price. And the trader, the Haida, he thinks about it and he goes, hums and he haws and he goes, you know what? For all your red berries, I will trade you this Chilkat dancing apron. And the Tlingit, he says, you know I can't give you the berries. I rode all the way down here with a boat full of berries to fill a contract. Like, they're already sold. I can't give you the berries. Tell me what else you want. And the guy says, nope, nope, it's the berries or nothing. And the Tlingit, he's fine. Yes, okay, take the berries. Take the berries. I want the apron. So he gets this apron and they're on their way home. And he is just bad mouthing this Haida guy. He raked me over the coals. He really screwed me over. He just took me for all I was worth. And this Haida guy, well, word gets back to him that this guy is bad mouthing him all the way up the coast on his way home. So he gets his crew together and they get in a war canoe and they paddle after them and they catch them on the edge of this knoll and they just slaughter everyone. And so that's, nobody messes with the Haida. And so we actually don't know how the robe ended up going home. It made it all the way up into traditional territory and it was in storage. And it was in storage for years and years, until this young woman was going through her training, her womanhood period, her seclusion period. And her aunties found this apron in this box. And they were so stunned that they decided they needed to learn how to do this. So they unraveled the apron and re-wove it. And that is how the knowledge of the Chilkat came to the Tlingit people.
Ah, Conachish. That is, it's wonderful to hear stories like that. And I did hear for the Raven's Tail weaving came actually from the Seattle area. And the yarn that was used at that time came from that area, very light.
The Janwu, the mountain goat?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, they actually had raised dogs that had the hair, and there was a picture that was caught showing one of the dogs that looked so little to me, but it showed a dog sitting there, and that was a dog they used to get the hair to spin the yarn for the Raven's Tail weaving, which makes quite a lightweight blanket. So.
And unfortunately, those dogs are no longer around. They were kept secluded on their very own island. And when they tested the fibers in the robes, they found out that these dogs were treated the best of the best. Like, they got choice bits of salmon. They were so well cared for. And they used to use mussel shells to shear them closer than clippers we can get them today. Like, it's amazing. And so the closest relative we have of the Coast Salish woolly dog is the Alaskan Eskimo, the miniature American Eskimo dog is the closest relation we have. So I'm trying to get my hands on one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really wonderful to hear how clever everybody was. I have the name of a very famous weaver, but I don't know how to weave. I tried, but I'm not a weaver, so.
Shock signing geek with 15 minutes left.
Okay.
I was trying to find an example to put on screen of some of the symbols I was talking about. I couldn't find a good example, so I'll look for next time. One thing we didn't mention is the W's, which we use often, the W sounds in Canadian Tlingit, it's often flipped upside down into an M sound, which we don't use here, and I'm not quite sure what the reason is for that. But that's another difference between coastal Alaskan Tlingit and inland Canadian Tlingit language.
Okay. Yeah, well, I hope that we can find somebody who can tell us more about the language from, I think we had somebody from Teslin or somebody that spoke once to tell us about the language. It's very interesting. I think the Chilcats picked up some of the words. I'm not sure. Maybe Skagway, I don't know. But
I wasn't curious about it because we're right by the border, but we don't use the M here in anything. It's always W. So I don't know what the distinction is or the reason behind that. I'm not sure.
how it came to be, yeah, that was something. But as a child, I used to hear all the different people speaking because of A and B conventions and things like that that you go to. Everybody would gather together, and you could hear from all the different locations, which was really wonderful to hear. Okay, are we out of time now?
No, we have 13 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. For those that are new, we are doing a knock knock. That'll be a part of your memory work. And we do the knock knock, and then we say, who is it? And in Tlingit, it's Atu Sawe. Atu Sawe. And the WE at the end, where the tone mark is, when you're talking to somebody that's a distance, like somebody's at the door or somewhere, then there's Adusa Ya. Adusa Ya. So somebody comes up to speak to you, and they have a child with them, and you can say Adusa Ya. And who is this? That's what it says. Who is this? So, but the one we're going to use in class is Adusa We. Somebody knocking at the door. And you give your Tlingit name. Shaksanikik Aya. Aya means it's me, Shirley Kendall. Aya is AYA, and both A's have tone marks. And in the discussion, or after that, they say Hagu, which means, or Neshko, whichever one you prefer, to have them come in. And so what we're going to do with this is you are the visitor visiting an old couple. So you're bringing them some goodies. And you can, when you get inside, then you say, Tek Hathasi in. Tek, berries. I brought berries.
Tleu,
Tek,
tleu,
yeah. Tek Hathasi in. See, in is when you have something that's liquid. See, in.
see in.
Yeah. Outside, You can say, Heen hatsa in, bring me some water.
In.
Any, anything that's liquid. Yeah. If it's solid, you say ti,
Tip.
Yeah.
Oh, like stone.
yak, and ti. Lay it right here. Hot ti, wak ook. Hot ti, wak ook. So, you know, there's a difference you have to say. Make sure you do the right one in carrying something. In this case, we're talking about berries with fruit cocktail and a banana. So we want to say tek hat hasi in fruit cocktail ka banana.
What's the in?
Yeah,
Goodness, cheese.
yeah. So then the old person or the gentleman will say, "I'll train gonna cheese," about the berries. That's how far we got. So, and we'll be doing that on Tuesday. We'll go right into saying that knock knock, and then we'll want to use the breakout room. We tried the breakout room and it worked really well last time. You go into the breakout room in small groups so you can practice and hear each other, give each other a chance to say. Some people are bashful or cautious about trying. So I think a breakout room is good. And I'll be visiting the class, the breakout rooms. So are there any comments or questions?
Just a question. Can Corey or somebody write that correct knock knock dialogue for us, please? In the chat.
I'll have to hear the whole thing and write it down. I don't actually have it written down myself. Sorry.
You didn't do it for the last class?
No, I don't have it written down.
Yeah, it's important for you to get the notes on this because it's going to be your memory work. What part do you need writing on, spelling on?
Probably the whole thing, just to have it all written down. And then I'll put the kind of paraphrase in chat, and then somebody can fix it with the tones because I can't do the tones.
So how is the spelling after the knock knock? Adusa way? How do we spell that correctly? That's my
I'll do so where's double A D double O. That's the first word. High tone on the first O. Next word, SA, high tone on the, and that's where the question mark is. That Lingit question mark is on that one. I'll do sa, we. Next last word, WE with tone mark on the E.
and then the
And your
Tlingit name, and then the Aya.
yeah,
Aya. Okay.
it's AYA. Tone
Yes.
mark both A's.
Okay.
And
And then,
you can say hagu or you can say nesgu, whichever you like.
and hagu means what again?
Come in or come here.
Come in, okay. Okay. And then this is,
Tek,
it gets really confusing for me.
tek,
Okay.
TLEI. Say, underline KW. Tek. Berries.
Wait, so TLEI
EI.
underline K.
And high tone E as well.
Okay, high tone E, it means like a mark, apostrophe mark.
No.
It's
Oh.
the little symbol that goes above a vowel.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay.
In the chat, I try to I'll italicize those vowels, but I can't make the tone mark in the chat.
Okay.
Tek,
Like-
tek is it's none. It doesn't say exactly what kind of berries. It's berries.
Okay.
I think in many cases it's blueberries anyway.
Okay.
I've always thought of it as being mixed berries, like
Yeah.
2 or more kinds, because usually if it's one kind of berry, there's a word for it, a specific
Yeah.
word. So this would probably be like a mix, is what I would think.
So the word is clecqua or
Check.
click.
So it's hard to read. The K is underlined, so it's underlined KW, which in Tlingit that counts as one sound. But the way I have it written, because of the underline problem with the text, it's KHW.
Okay.
So TL high tone E I underline KW.
Okay.
Uh,
Click.
Make sure you do the T at the beginning, because if you do tek, it's a different word.
Okay.
Hot, HAAT. Next word, hua. XWASI. That's one word. XWASI.
And that means
See, in is IN, the ending. Hathosi in, I brought you some berries. And you use in because it's liquid.
Huasi is underlined, right? Underline X for me. Okay.
X.
So yeah, the period there, that's the glottal stop. There's a brief pause because we have two vowels, 2 I's together. There's kind of a pause between the sounds. Huasi in.
okay.
That's another thing. When you start to see more Tlingit written in books and stuff, sometimes the format of the sentences, the line is by sentence. It's not always written as full paragraphs like you would see in English. And I think part of the reason is that sometimes we use the period like this for a symbol. That's not the end of a sentence. This is intentional in this case.
So all this means I have berries.
I brought you berries.
I brought you berries. Okay.
Fruit cocktail, bananas teen. Fruit cocktail, banana teen. It has fruit cocktail and banana in there. And I'm adding these in intentionally because the old people were not really that bashful about using English words. They just include, and they can't think of it right away. They say, well, fruit cocktail, banana. Steam.
Surely we're out of time. I just looked at the time.
We're
We're
done.
having too much fun.
So it is Klehwa Hatsein. That's the
That hot hussy in.
okay.
Ah.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. And that means I brought you berries. Okay. And that's when you say the fruit cocktail and banana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're saying I brought you berries with fruit cocktail and bananas in it.
Okay. Okay.
And today we know it as potlatch berries.
Okay.
Oh,
All
the big
right.
bowl of berries they bring out every time. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Goodness, sheesh.
Goodness sheesh. All right.
Yeah.
Eh. Well, I'll see everybody next week then.
Okay.
See ya, Yannicka.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Say Kosatin.